All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. And today's episode is simply a friendly reminder that it's definitely not alt season and that Bitcoin maximalists are always kind of ahead. Now, I don't necessarily consider myself a Bitcoin maximalist because, well, I have a cryptocurrency YouTube channel, and so I have to talk about a lot of things, and I do like the tech of a lot of things. And my favorite coins, of course, are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a number of coins. However, I do have to admit that buying Bitcoin is always a safe bet. And when people come along and say that they only buy Bitcoin, well, I really can't blame them on that because there's always alts that come along. And by buying them, it's always a gamble. Of course, the crypto market really exploded at some point along in 2017. I would say, I think most people agree that the crypto market is super exploded in 2017. That's when most crypto YouTubers kind of came along, and I would say that the number one thing that made the cryptocurrency market sort of explode in price was crypto YouTubers. That and affiliate links like BitConnect and Genesis Mining and things like that. Things that really incentivized YouTubers to make these videos, to have people sign up and make these videos so that they could make extra money and things like that. And then people could see these videos, they could see how much money they're making, they could see the mining, they could see these tutorials, and that sort of sped it along. And there were plenty of all of these coins along the way, particularly in 2017. There was just coin after coin after coin and token after token, mostly coins that you could, of course, mine. Things like Energy Coin, Vert Coin, Pascal Coin, all these coins. And this is sort of just a friendly reminder video that it is definitely not altcoin season right now, and that your money would probably be better off in something like Bitcoin. This is also a friendly reminder that Ethereum is also doing quite well. In fact, it's quite catching up to Bitcoin. Of course, not in the price, but in a relative manner to Bitcoin. And I think Ethereum overall is a quite useful coin and has a lot of value to it. I think it's very undervalued in terms of all of the smart contracts. Basically, every token that you've ever interacted with or purchased, every smart contract, DeFi platform, almost that you've ever interacted with for the past several years has been Ethereum. And therefore, I think it's very undervalued. For example, Binance Coin used to be an Ethereum token, and it had billions of dollars in value, and it was on the Ethereum network. And so Binance probably, it costed them probably $50 in Ethereum to make that token. And when it costs only $50 in Ethereum for a large corporation exchange like that, to make something of that value, that's what I call undervalued. So so this video is sort of for the Bitcoin maximalists, and I found myself last night sort of looking through some old riffraff wallets of mine that I had stored away, just in hopes that maybe those coins would go up in value. I came to the conclusion that they'll never really go up in value, and even if they did, what would I be missing out on? Maybe a few $100s here and there if they went to the moon. Oh well. And a couple of them was Energy Coin. I had some laying around. I had some old Vert Coin as well. And I decided to get rid of them and just put that into Bitcoin and Ethereum instead. And it's just sort of a friendly reminder that, I got more value out of that Bitcoin and Ethereum than I think that I'm ever going to get out of some of those tokens. There was a few other little wallets that I had that I just sort of picked those coins out of and just sort of transferred them into a different coin, put them on an exchange, etc. And no big deal. So Bitcoin maximalism, not really a joke. Necessarily. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I do think that it's not that it is sort of a good idea for a lot of people, because we can take a look here, and while we see the top 20 coins or so. We get used to these top 20 coins, but it didn't look like this a year ago, and it didn't look like this 2 years ago, and definitely didn't look like this 3 years ago. These coins come and go and disappear. A few years ago, the top 20 looked completely differently. A few years ago, the top 50 looked very, very differently. And if you had put your money into them, you may be in a very good spot right now, but more likely you're in a bad spot. But if you had put your money into Ethereum and Bitcoin, you're more than likely in a very, very good spot right now, because a few years ago Ethereum was just a few $100s, if that. A few years ago, Bitcoin was likely just a few $1,000s, maybe depending on the year and month. It was definitely not $30,000. And you're just plain and simple always going to be in a good spot if you're putting your money into Bitcoin. But that's it for that. It's just a friendly reminder for you guys. Check your old wallets. If you have some altcoins laying around, do yourself a favor and make a decision to hold on to them or not. Are we at the bottom of prices right now? That's hard to decide. That's hard to say. If we're at the bottom, are we going to go to 29,000 or 25,000? Are we going to go to $20,000 Bitcoin? Who knows? I don't think we're at the bottom necessarily. I kind of hope I'm wrong about that. But are all of those old altcoins you have in your wallets and all of those old ERC20 tokens that are sitting in your Ethereum wallet, are they doing you good service just sitting there and losing value? Or would it do you better service to sell them and just buy Bitcoin? And I think the reason why a lot of people don't buy Bitcoin and don't sell their old altcoins is because they have this hopium that one day somehow those are just going to go to the moon. It's very unlikely that that's going to happen. And another reason why people don't do that is because Bitcoin doesn't travel as much as some of those altcoins do. Some of those altcoins, they might think, well, they're going to go up 1,000%. I find that very unlikely. And if Bitcoin goes back to 60,000, well, that's only a 100% increase. That's only a 100% increase, but that's double your money. That's pretty good. That's what you should hope for. In the stock market, that would be insane gains to hope for. So do yourself a favor and bust out some of those old wallets, bust out that Trezor, and see what you got in there. It's like rummaging through the old closet, you never know what you got in there. MicroStrategy's Sailor, BTC must drop to $3,562 before we get margin calls. So there were some articles going around the other day that it has to go to 21,000 before they get a margin call, and that is true. Those articles were true, and I made a video about that yesterday, and it is true, but it is only partially true because MicroStrategy has bought Bitcoin for the past couple years, all the way back from about $20,000 all the way up to about $60,000. So it's, again, these articles are all coming out saying about these margin calls with MicroStrategy. And the reason why everyone's focusing on MicroStrategy is because they own the most Bitcoin of about anybody or anything in the world. And so they're the ones that are going to get wrecked the most if Bitcoin goes down. Now, again, these margin calls work the opposite in reverse as well. So if Bitcoin is going up, it can wreck shorts as well, and it can force the price up further quickly as well. But as we're going down in price in Bitcoin, people are getting margin calls, and that forces the price down even further. It forces people to sell. And if MicroStrategy is forced to sell, it's going to rock the price down even quicker. And it's true, at 21,000, they will have to pull out more collateral, but that just puts MicroStrategy in a worse and worse spot. They have to continue getting collateral. MicroStrategy is not making billions upon billions of dollars a year to buy all of this Bitcoin. What they're doing is actually borrowing money to buy this Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, if you've ever been wondering how MicroStrategy is buying all of these billions of dollars in Bitcoin, they're not like the biggest corporation in the world in order to be buying all of this Bitcoin. They're using collateral and getting loans to buy this Bitcoin. They're using some of their funds, but they're getting a lot of collateral to do that. But Michael Saylor confirmed that the company is under no immediate pressure to liquidate its Bitcoin because we are at 31,000 Bitcoin. We did have a slight rally today, but despite prevailing market conditions, in fact, the price of Bitcoin needs to drop as low as 3,562 for the company to get a margin call to refill its leverage position. Now, I suspect at $3,562, that would be really bad for Bitcoin because as we get lower and lower, everybody would get margin called. And there's a limit to margin calls of how many people would be shorting Bitcoin and longing Bitcoin. There's a limit to how many leveraged positions there actually are in the world, and when that runs out, that would be sort of the bottom of Bitcoin. But if it got to 3,562, everybody would be leveraged out, and then MicroStrategy would be absolutely and utterly wrecked, and I don't think they could find anything to leverage even more Bitcoin at that point. People would be buying a ton of Bitcoin if Bitcoin went down that low. And that's the thing. I think if Bitcoin went so low as to get to nearly $3,500, everybody would be pulling out their wallets to buy a little bit of Bitcoin. And I don't think it would ever get that low because everybody would be willing to put in a few $100s to buy a little bit of Bitcoin because you would get quite a bit of Bitcoin at that price. So recall that on March 29th, MicroStrategy subsidiary MacroStrategy obtained a $205 million loan. The loan deal used Bitcoins obtained by its parent company as a collateral to acquire even more Bitcoin. On a recent earning call, MicroStrategy CFO Phone Lay confirmed that the collateralized position will be at risk if Bitcoin goes below 21,000. But that's some of it. The news led to unfounded fears that the company might sell its Bitcoin to avoid potential losses. However, today's update from Michael Saylor aims to calm any such fears, which is pretty corporate lingo there. Of course, they're going to calm fears. Understandably, the company is the latest corporate holder of Bitcoin with... I think the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, they probably want to reword that, 129,218 Bitcoin, which is about $4 billion. Hence, the company can supply additional Bitcoin as collateral to the leverage position, even if Bitcoin continues to drop. The company's largest holding mean that the asset's price needs to drop to $3,562. The problem I see with that is that they're going to supply additional Bitcoin as collateral as Bitcoin continues to go down. So they're going to continue to leverage even more of their own Bitcoin as Bitcoin goes down in price, and they're going to continue to get wrecked as it goes down and more. So MicroStrategy would be the largest wrecked like anyone had ever seen in crypto ever if Bitcoin continues to go down in price. It just seems like I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today kind of situation. I don't think I see Bitcoin ever going back down that low because now people realize we've seen Bitcoin at $60,000. There's no way it's going to get to 3,500 because people are going to definitely pull out their credit cards well before it gets to 3,500. Even if such a drop, although unlikely, happens, MicroStrategy would still be holding $410 million worth of Bitcoin, enough to maintain its position. At the same time, Saylor notes that the company could post some other collateral. Again, so they would just be trying to sell everything, like all the chairs in their office, just all the desks, everything, right? So they're just posting more and more collateral, and if it went down, just MicroStrategy is just toast. Michael Saylor would just be laughed off the planet. Bitcoin would be roasted off the planet. It would be bad. So honestly, Bitcoin relies on MicroStrategy at this point. MicroStrategy relies on Bitcoin. Michael Saylor relies on Bitcoin at this point. He owns MicroStrategy, and Michael Saylor and Bitcoin go hand in hand at this point because they have $4 billion worth of it. 129,000 Bitcoin is no joke. They have so much collateral and so much Bitcoin that if it goes down in price, it will affect you and me. It will affect the whole world when it comes to Bitcoin. it's a lot. It would be bad. Another reason why I'm talking about that it isn't altcoin season, and that you should really focus probably the majority of your funds in terms of cryptocurrency into Bitcoin, and I argue Ethereum as well because of its usefulness, and I feel that it's extremely undervalued, is something like this as well. This is a really great post by somebody, and I mentioned ICP numerous times in live streams and various videos over the year-ish or years that it suddenly came out. It was a year ago today. Somebody writes, May 10th, 2021, a new coin seemed to suddenly appear out of nowhere. And it did. It just all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere on CoinMarketCap, and it was like one of the top 10 coins. It was basically top 10 or 20-ish, and I had never heard of it. It was named Internet Computer. It was ICP. Had no idea what it did. It was extremely confusing. Its synopsis, it's like white paper, etc., was extremely confusing, and entered the top 10 immediately. Went to number 4 for a few hours, with only BTC, ETH, and BNB ahead of it. On the first day, it was even listed on sites like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. I remember thinking it was a bug when there suddenly was a new coin in top 10. I remember thinking the same thing as well. Like, what is this coin? Why is it here? Is this a joke? Is it a bug? Did somebody put in like a wrong circulating supply, or a wrong price, or a wrong value of some sort? Today it's sitting solidly below $15 and went below $10 yesterday. It started at $700, which was absurdly overpriced, it seems. But to be fair, ICP had incredibly bad luck with its timing, as it was released just days before Bitcoin's biggest crash in recent history, which dragged the whole market down with it. BTC opened at above $58 only 3 days later. I think he meant 58,000. It opened below 50K and kept going down. So again, it's somebody bought this thinking like, oh, this is a really great thing. It started off at 700. It's in the top coin. And again, wrecked. And all those coins, all those mineable coins, all those proof of stake coins back in the day. I remember mining Vericoin or something like that. It was like this privacy coin. Basically, every single privacy coin I ever mined or ever staked all went down to nothing. Every single privacy coin I've ever seen, there was a Grim, tons of coins, Veilcoin, all kinds of coins that were privacy coins, all went down. Every proof of work coin I've almost ever mined went downhill from 2017, 2018-ish. Every proof of stake coin ever staked pretty much went downhill, except for like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Litecoin to some degree, but even Litecoin has been performing very poorly. I think the only reason that Litecoin is really in the top, still like barely hanging in there, like where even is Litecoin anymore? Yeah, still it's 22. Even Litecoin is performing very poorly. So it's hard to even say anymore. Like, look how much it has shifted around. Like Shiba Coin is just number 15. It came out of nowhere, basically. It's not going to last. Next year, we're just not going to see Shiba in number 15. I can bet a monetary bet on that it's just not going to be 15. I'm surprised Tron is even remotely still in the front of this. So just take a look at your profile. Just take a look at your profile. Take a look at especially your ERC20 wallets. I'm sure you guys have tons of airdrops, tons of goofy stuff in there. Ask yourself, is this going to go up in price? Should I just like get rid of this and put it into something that is just going to go up in price eventually, like Bitcoin? It's probably going to go back to 60,000. Is it going to take a year? Is it going to take 2 years? Probably. But it's going to go up. Just have patience. It's going to be just a 2x gain, but that's not a problem. Ethereum, is it going to go back to nearly $5,000? Probably. Is it going to take a year? Is it going to take 2 years? Probably. I hope it doesn't take that long, but it is. Another thing here too, like stable coins, UST stablecoin implodes and falls to 68 cents. Bitcoin reserves liquidated. Luna crashes to 50%. We have the Terra USD stablecoin here. It just crashed to 68 cents. It crashed Luna with it. try to have a little bit of Bitcoin maxi in you. Just have a little bit in there. Just inject just a little bit of that Bitcoin maxi in you. You don't need the whole syringe. Just like 10 milliliters of Bitcoin maxi in you, because just go back in time. You're just always making money with Bitcoin. But if you're jamming your money into some of these altcoins, you might make a little bit of money for a little bit of while, but that's just the best advice I think I can give you today. I think that's the best thing that I can think of for a video today is just, put your money where it is always just making money. And that is Ethereum, that is Bitcoin, and that is some of these top coins that you're always seeing day in and day out. And some of these altcoins could rocket up 10x and you can make your money. But sometimes they rocket up 10x while you're sleeping and then go right back down and you miss it. And it'll never come back up again. But Bitcoin always comes back up. So that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel to help it out. But as usual, I'll see you guys next time.